Welcome back, TCSTV viewers. It's Jordan Drake. I'm here with Chris Nichols, who is full of vigor after the Black Friday weekend that we just braved. We're exhausted. Chris has a baby that's due like any moment, so that's probably weighing on his mind somewhat.
It would be weighing on my mind, except concerns like family and our personal health are always coming second to our TCS viewers, which is why we're here tonight, making a video when we should be at home sleeping.
Yeah, couldn't possibly be worse timing, but we got stuff to talk about. So
exactly.
So we're here. It's been a really interesting period, and it's been a little while between episodes. So there's a few things that we wanted to talk about. First of all, we've kind of started compiling our thoughts for our annual best and worst of episode, which is coming up.
Yes, and it'll be more debaucherous. Is that a word? There'll be more debauchery.
I don't want to make any promises.
Then last year, no, I will. It's going to be good in a bad way.
Okay.
And that's coming.
Yeah.
We're getting ready for that.
But while we were doing that, we had a lot of conversations because we have to pick the best and worst cameras.
And we're forced to talk to each other because we have to make the show together.
We get along just fine. I don't know why you want to keep exacerbating this. Okay. So we're having a discussion about that, and for the first time ever, usually it doesn't take us long to come up with things. But this year, for the first time, we really struggled.
Like best camera, worst camera, trends. I mean, really what we're trying to get as the industry as a whole this year, and we saw it in the store level as well, I don't know if I would call it a banner year. I certainly wouldn't call it exciting. I think a lot of people would agree. It's
been a hugely kind of evolutionary year, and it's not like we're even seeing a lot of exciting new features at the top. Generally, we'd see, the high-end camera that was introduced last year, which was a great year for photography.
Yeah.
Its features trickling down into some of the lower-end models. So it made it really difficult, because when we're looking at some of the most exciting things, I mean, sure, there's a lot of great cameras, some very refined ones, but we also want things that are exciting and bringing something new.
Well, you know what's funny is we talk about refinement, we talk about evolution, and that's all well and good, but there were so many situations this year where cameras weren't even really refined, or the only thing that really changed, the only thing that evolved was the name of the camera.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, an increased buffer rate. We're looking at you D7200 or, picture-in-picture, like the X100T now and stuff. Like, it just seems like the companies are like, oh, we'll make new cameras, but they're the same cameras with an extra feature or two. And that's unfortunate because it's not exciting.
No, and it's been a real, again, this is about photography, because we do see some major upgrades on some of my favorite cameras this year, like the RX10 II, RX100 Mark IV, Panasonic G7. They're most compelling for some of the video features that have been added. I think we're really starting to see things almost stagnating a little bit on the stills level. I mean, DSLRs, we've been saying it for a long time, but honestly, even in a lot of the mirrorless cameras now, well,
I even talked about it with on Twitter, and because we actually do check that out, and we talk to our viewers and stuff, and it's great. And everybody is like, oh, Canon, Nikon, so stagnant, and that's true. I agree with that in a lot of ways. But you're right, mirrorless is also kind of slowed down. Now everybody at home, shut up, because they're all like, oh, Sony. But what about Olympus? What about Panasonic? What about Nikon 1, Canon M3.
Oh, I mean, look at the Fuji lineup.
Fuji,
they're major. Like the X-T10 is a great camera, but it's just features from their flagship brought to a lower price point. Panasonic, the G7 is a GH4 without some of the advanced video features. It's just stuff trickling down. I mean,
and on the same note, like Panasonic, the GX8. I mean, nothing inspiring in the body, but they come out with a brand new mirrorless sensor that should shake things up, even when something that should be exciting comes out, nobody gives a damn.
No,
I mean, literally not one person.
Well, and in that case, it's a little bit more resolution after a lot of years of waiting. It's been really difficult coming up. I mean, I've had an easy time looking at some of our video lists, a lot of other stuff, a lot of excitement in terms of lighting, audio, accessories, stuff like that. But in the core cameras, it's been a little bit of a stale year.
Now, of course, the bodies are disappointing. There wasn't too much exciting stuff, really. But there was some good stuff. Lenses in particular. We want to talk about that. But also, let's just get out of the way, Sony.
Yeah.
A7R Mark II, A7S Mark II.
Well, I'm really excited about Sony right now because
Sure.
I'm a hybrid. Like, I shoot stills and I shoot a lot of video. They're equally important.
Right.
But the A7S II, if I'm a photographer, you get the 5-axis stabilization, but there's not much compelling. It's still primarily the updates have been video centric. A7R II, I mean,
The A7R Mark II.
the focus is fascinating, the interchangeable lens, all that
The
stuff.
new sensor's like the best thing ever on the planet right now.
Right.
And not only that, but maybe arguably the A7R Mark II looks even greater than it normally would because everything else is boring, right?
I think it's funny, you go online and you hear people like, stop talking about the A7R Mark II, but
We
what
don't
else
even
out
wanna
there
talk
is
about it.
really
Exactly.
exciting people
Exactly.
in terms
And it
of,
is a fantastic camera.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the 5DSR, we should kind of talk about that. I mean, everybody's crapping on Canon.
Yeah.
I actually like the 5DSR. I think I'm the only person on the planet who is actually pretty positive about that because you are getting twice the resolution. Yeah, it's the same camera, but you're getting twice the resolution without any downside, and yet nobody cares. Sales were dismal on that camera, and it's telling. You know what I mean? A7R Mark II, this is the first time that I've seen people in droves dumping Canon and Nikon, like loyal people.
It's funny, we talked about it for so many, because we kind of saw,
Sure.
I think, what was happening now.
Yeah,
where
because
we
we're
were
like super geniuses.
incredibly
and-
cognizant.
Yeah,
seeing to the
and we're
future.
really
Yeah.
tuned into the industry, and we know.
Yeah, but we've been saying this for the longest time, is eventually things are going to hit a critical mass where the advantages of mirrorless outweigh. You know, there are still some disadvantages, battery life, but
They're being addressed.
But they're being addressed so rapidly, with the exception of battery life. Like, Jesus, come on.
It's getting there.
But yeah, it is, absolutely. But still, this is the first time that, we're seeing a lot of pros.
people
coming in.
dumping their gear.
And
yes.
they're like, how much can I get for this $20,000 of lenses
Yeah.
and flash
And we
accessories
give them
and
like $800, and they have no choice. But they get to carry a lighter camera out there, you know, and they're really enjoying it, and they're having a good time. That's the big thing, is people aren't just saying, you know, I wanna downsize and I wanna get lighter weight. They're like, I actually really am enjoying photography and getting back into it, which is the whole point of
Exactly.
doing this whole thing. It's the whole point of this show. It's the whole point of us being here. So yeah, I mean, that's very important. You can't underestimate the power of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, definitely in terms of trends, we're seeing some interesting things right now.
Yeah.
The way that the industry is slumping and some of the things that we're seeing coming out of that.
Yeah.
But in terms of the product that's hitting the shelves, I think that's a huge part of this trend we're
Absolutely.
seeing. People aren't as excited as they have been other years.
Now, before all the SLR users start crapping all over us and
Well,
like,
they have been for 3 years
unsubscribing,
now.
and like unsubscribing, lenses were very exciting this year. I mean, this was the year of the 150 to 600s. This was the year of the 200 to 500s. Nikon have their PF stuff, which is doing pretty good, even though Canon tried it. It didn't do well at all. You know, and of course we've got new Zeiss. Zeiss have a new name for like any series of lens they feel like making out there.
Yeah, they're
and
like,
they're all stupid names, but they've
it's
got
a
them.
45 millimeter, so now it's our new Zealot series.
Yes, like, you know, we'll just make up a word. You know, but we're getting a lot of new glass on the market, and that is pretty exciting. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Cinematic stuff.
It's all the accessories and things like that I think are compelling. But let's not just spoil our entire year-end talk, because we want to do this when we're drinking a lot more and have much stronger opinions.
But we're only drinking a little bit right now.
There's one major story that I really want to get to tonight, and that's Samsung. They're this company, they do like phones. They're mostly known for.
Oh yeah, and I think I have an oven and a microwave.
Yeah,
from
I've got
them
a
as
washing
well.
machine that sings to you when it
Fiance's
loads
got
down.
a phone. Yeah, Samsung.
Yeah. They make cameras.
What?
They made good cameras this year.
No.
Totally. I mean, the NX1, it's a
is-
great camera.
This is interesting because, you know, it's mind-boggling. They made such a good camera, like literally one of the best APS-C sensors ever made.
The best.
They always have great graphic interfaces. Oh, that's good beer too. And, you know, on top of that, you're getting fast focusing, like fix that. You're getting great video. Actually, everybody's like sharp video.
Yeah, I mean,
and excellent lenses. You got the token German company in there, Schneider Kreuznach, making it.
Yeah.
And yet they just totally effed it up.
Yeah.
And
well, and this is what's so I mean,
Why?
if it had been a year ago and there was an NX30 out there and you said Samsung's leaving the camera market, I'd be like, okay. I mean, yeah, they gave it a kick. And those weren't terrible cameras, honestly. I give them a hard time for it, but they never had that one defining feature that would kind of let them break through to a specific audience.
make note of the lack of Beer everywhere. Well, here's the thing. Why did they do so badly? You know, I mean, I think the biggest problem they had when they first broke into it was the cost was too much. They were expensive cameras. And they didn't advertise at all. The only reason why they got even any traction is because they are a big name in the electronics industry, and all the dealers are like, well, Samsung, I mean, that's a big player.
Right.
And they're like, all the reviewers like ourselves and all the bloggers out there, and they're like, wow, Samsung, like, this is a big deal. Their phones are good, all their appliances, their cameras should be good too. But they totally missed the market on getting the everyday person in.
Yeah.
I remember the only time that we sold their cameras was times just like now, Black Friday times, where they would literally like give them away.
Yeah, clear them out.
They'd come over to your house and wash your windows and clean your carpets
Right.
and like do your yard and give you a camera, and they'd pay you to take it.
Well, I think that's, I mean, with the exception of Fuji, all of the big names out there kind of built their audience from the consumer level up right now.
Yeah.
If we're looking, I mean, even honestly, you could say the DSLRs with Rebels and Nikon D3 whatever.
Sure.
You know, looking at Olympus, Panasonic, they started at kind of that $1,000 mark, built up from there, and eventually got to their pro camera, where the first compelling offering that Samsung brought out was a pro-oriented enthusiast camera that was just south of $2,000.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, really. I mean, you know, even Sony, when they first came out with their NEX line, the fact is it was a very good camera for the time. It was well priced, and so it started to get people.
Yeah.
But Samsung came out and they made cameras which were very pretty, nice interfaces, but didn't have the same features as the competition, and slapped you across the face with a huge price tag. And that's a terrible way to start it. I mean, that's our take on it. I don't know. Why else would they do so badly in this industry?
It just seems like a lot of not finding a dedicated audience for their cameras. Look at the NX1. It's crazy good video quality. You know, it's technically, like I may have griped about the aesthetics, but that was a minor thing.
Sure.
The major thing is they make this camera that's exciting for videographers and then make it almost impossible to edit format.
Yeah.
Things like that just seem like
It's the
short
aficionados,
sighted-
it's the techies that are going to buy that camera and appreciate it.
Yeah.
But they're not going to tell their cousins and their sister-in-laws and their, you know, people at work and at school, hey, you should pick up this camera, because no, it's not for them.
I mean, there's a silver lining to this, and that is I hope that the Samsung designers, which they've always done very well in terms of their phones and everything like that, I want those people to be snapped up by Sony and Olympus. Like, split right down the middle. The two people who can't design an interface to save their lives. Get those Samsung people. Beautiful menu. Like, you go into the hard menus, it's so easy to scroll through. Everything's very clear. They've got visual displays on everything. Like, you could give those to...
I agree.
Like, I mean, you would touch a Samsung camera exclusively when there was a new one to review.
Because the
take
interface
2
was nice.
minutes,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I'm ready to go. Perfect, here we go. Where I will still, like, I've owned my A6000 for quite some time, and I'll still be like, what is PTRS extended mode?
And I still don't get
That
what
might not be a
Olympus...
mode, I just made that up.
I still don't get what Olympus means with a heart for silent mode. Doesn't make any sense. You know, when it comes to Samsung, I don't know. Let's be clear. We're not saying that they're like dead. We should make that clear. I mean, we don't know. Nobody knows. But that's the rumblings. I mean, they're pulling out of the UK
They're pulling
now.
out of a ton of
They're pulling out
markets.
of Canada's market. You know, we think Samsung America's
If
going
they
to take
had
over.
something
but-
major that they were excited about in the works, they would not be pulling themselves out. And
So
losing.
maybe we'll shut up and we'll recant. But so far, it looks like pretty.
It looks
scary
like
stuff.
the end of Samsung in photography, and what's really scary in a time where we're seeing camera sales slumping is I hope this isn't an indicator of some of the other brands that aren't doing quite as well in the market but are making awesome products.
What, like Hulga? Yeah, they're done. Hey,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
strange.
talk about like the complete opposite. The Samsung is the techie, we have H.265 compression company. The exact opposite of that is you try to hold down the shutter for roughly what you think might be an exposure that's suitable for this
I mean, the
particular
Hulga is
shot.
great. You would get anywhere from like 30th to 250th of a second randomly, depending on which one. I mean, if the shutter even worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's strange. I mean, we're talking about a camera that's cost nothing. It had a lot of appeal. A lot of people loved it. The hipsters loved it.
Did you ever own a Hulga?
I did, actually.
Yeah, I owned a Hulga too,
you
which
know,
is,
everybody
I
did.
mean, it's not, and I'm not even a toy camera
Yeah,
guy.
I know.
So it seems funny for something that everyone seemed to have owned one at one point to see that go. I mean, it is kind of sad, but honestly, there's so
I
many
think
floating
Instagram
around.
killed it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but it is interesting. We've got these two very diverse companies in very opposite ends now, both maybe packing it in.
It's sad. No, I mean, I don't want to make this just come off as like one big depressing session where we're talking about, oh, it hasn't been exciting in photography this year, and Samsung's probably pulling out of the market, and Hulga's gone, and we do have a lot of really cool stuff coming up in the near future. I've been shooting a lot of tests leading up to it.
Black Friday.
What? We got some cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, we do.
With you having like a baby born any day here, you're probably going to have tons of free time for us to finish all those episodes.
As the TCSTV viewers know, we will happily ignore our friends and family and responsibilities to bring out content.
Going on 5 years.
Yes. G9X, G7X, G5X.
Yeah,
Canon's
we're doing a whole
this,
Canon G lineup.
Yeah, combined arms attack. Sony RX1R Mark II.
That's the first thing I'm probably going to get to go on.
Very
We
exciting.
were shooting that, just showed up today, a production version of it. We can really start testing it.
The RX1R took the best photos that I had ever seen in a camera to the point, you know how you make it better? You put the world's best sensor behind
that
lens.
incredible lens.
It looks amazing even on the screen.
And eye detect with that a camera that small for street photography is
Crazy.
going to be unbelievable.
So
I
that's
really
the
wanna test
review on
out.
that camera done, but if you feel
Oh,
like
damn
watching,
it.
I don't know, an extended version of it, we will do that soon.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll find a flaw. Who knows?
No, I doubt it.
I've been out shooting tons of time lapses. You guys can
Sirp?
actually see on our
Sirp?
shorts channel a
Sirp?
few. Yes, Sirp from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Been doing a lot of that. We've got the Genie Mini for 2-axis movements. I've really been enjoying shooting those, so I want to do a full review on it. I think it's a really exciting product. And the one I'm most excited about, honestly, is our friends over at DDG, who we
you
did the
would be.
645Z video with. They've had a Canon C300 Mark II for a while now. So.
Which is a way better camera for video than the Pentax 645Z.
Yes, yeah, we're finally actually giving them a camera. I mean, maybe not capable of their abilities, but certainly.
But you shot a video.
Yes.
You shot a movie.
I shot a movie
with
this summer with
yours.
the FS7, and this is the camera that a lot of people are comparing.
Yes.
They shot a movie on the C300
Like a
Mark II.
movie, yes.
We shot a movie on the FS7.
And we're going to compare them side by side, and
It's
we're going to
art.
see art. And we're going to see, yeah, it'll be fun to just see how this new camera does against a proven workhorse like the FS7.
What's really exciting to me about that too is we've just hooked up with DSC Labs, and they're going to send us some tools to properly measure dynamic range, color accuracy, resolution.
I mean, we're excited, but you should be even more excited because this means no more ISO tests of books, no more sharpness tests of various sales posters around the store. It's going to be like professional for
Well, what I
real.
think is really exciting is it's going to be objective now. Before it's been,
Oh,
we'll
that's tough,
take
though.
a picture of a scene and we'll say, you know, the dynamic range is extremely good on this. With this new stuff, we can tell you exactly where it's sitting,
Yes.
what's usable.
We'll be even more honest than we even already were before.
Yeah, so by far the most compelling YouTube channel on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Just got better.
Exactly.
So this is kind of where we stand right now with things. Wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on. State of the Union, we do have the best and worst of coming up very soon.
Yes.
Guys, don't forget, follow us on Twitter at the bottom there. We've got our doodle loops that you
Yeah.
can use for that. We're
Write
on
us
Instagram.
comments.
Yes.
Even just watch our videos. That'd be great. And the fact is, we did our educational thing on the log files.
Yes.
That was very well received. And comments are great. We appreciate it. We love it. We're very appreciative. And that means that we're going to make more.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. So you
Because
guys
of
get
your
to have say.
feedback, we are going to be doing more educational content. I've got some
Because again, we
ideas.
care more about you than our own families.
I'm still going to go see them after this. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see y'all soon.
All right. Take care. Twitter, Instagram.
I said y'all.
Yeah. Bye.